You've been wasting money on overpriced bottles that taste like vinegar. That expensive Merlot everyone raves about? It's actually ranked near the bottom. That $12 bottle sitting on the bottom shelf? It just might blow your mind. We're ranking 10 popular red wines from absolute worst to surprisingly best. And some of these results are going to make you completely rethink your next wine purchase. Let's expose which bottles are worth your money and which ones belong in the drain. Let's kick things off with number 10. And honestly, this one hurt to put at the bottom because so many people reach for it. Barefoot Merlot. Now, before you click away because this is your go-to, hear us out. Barefoot has built an empire on being affordable and accessible. You'll find it at every gas station, grocery store, and Target in America. The problem? It tastes exactly like what it is, a mass-produced wine designed to appeal to absolutely everyone, which means it appeals to no one in particular. The first sip hits you with this overwhelming sweetness that completely masks any complexity. It's like they dumped a bag of sugar into the barrel and called it a day. Real Merlot should have notes of black cherry, plum, maybe some chocolate or tobacco. This tastes like grape juice that went to college for a semester and came back thinking it was sophisticated. Here's the thing though, and this is important. There's a time and place for Barefoot. Your friend's casual backyard barbecue where everyone's focused on burgers and conversation? Sure. A Tuesday night when you just want something wet and alcoholic? Fine, but if we're actually trying to enjoy wine as wine, this isn't it. At around $6 a bottle, you're getting exactly what you pay for. The surprising fact here, Barefoot sells more than 22 million cases annually, making it one of America's best-selling wine brands. That's not because it's good, it's because it's everywhere and it's cheap. Marketing wins over quality every single time in the budget wine game. Coming in at number 9 is Yellowtail Shiraz, and this one's popularity genuinely baffles us. Yellowtail has that cute kangaroo on the label that screams Australian wine, and Americans ate it up. We're talking about a brand that basically introduced Australian wine to the US market in the early 2000s. The problem is that Yellowtail Shiraz tastes like someone's vague memory of what wine should taste like. It's jammy, and not in a good way. It's more like someone melted down a jar of Smuckers and added alcohol. There's this artificial fruit punch flavor that dominates everything, and the finish? Practically non-existent. Real Australian Shiraz should be bold, peppery, with dark fruit flavors and maybe some earthy undertones. Yellowtail tastes like it's trying really hard to offend absolutely nobody, which ironically makes it offensive to anyone who actually enjoys wine. It's wine for people who don't like wine but feel like they should drink it at parties. Now here's something most people don't know. Yellowtail is produced by Casella Wines, a family-owned company that went from near bankruptcy to becoming a billion-dollar empire practically overnight. They achieved this by making wine that tastes consistent. Not good, just consistent. Every bottle tastes exactly the same, which apparently is what focus groups told them Americans wanted. At around $8 to $10 a bottle, we're paying for the marketing and the cute label. That kangaroo has probably generated more revenue than most actual kangaroos in Australia. Sliding into number 8 is Ménage à Trois Red Blend. And yes, we need to talk about that name. This is marketing genius wrapped in mediocre wine. The name alone probably accounts for half their sales because people think they're being edgy ordering it at restaurants or bringing it to parties. Oh, we brought a Ménage à Trois. Congratulations, you made the same joke as 47 million other people. The wine itself is a blend of Zinfandel, Merlot, and Cabernet Sauvignon, which sounds promising on paper. In practice, it's like they threw 3 different mediocre wines together and hoped they'd somehow combine into something good. Spoiler alert, they didn't. The taste is overly fruity with this cloying sweetness that coats your mouth. There are supposed to be some vanilla and mocha notes from oak aging, but mostly what we get is generic red wine flavor with a slight burn on the finish. It's not offensive, it's just forgettable, which might be worse. Here's what shocked us during research. Ménage à Trois has won over 400 awards. 400. But here's the catch. These are mostly from lesser-known competitions where thousands of wines get medals. It's like participation trophies for the wine industry. They slap those medals on the bottle, and suddenly consumers think they're getting something premium. At $10 to $12, it's priced just high enough that people think they're upgrading from barefoot, but we're really just paying extra for a suggestive name and aggressive marketing. Before we continue with number 7, if you're enjoying this ranking and learning which wines are actually worth your hard-earned money, do us a favor. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who are tired of wasting cash on overhyped bottles. And drop a comment telling us which wine on this list surprised you most, or if there's a wine you want us to roast or praise in the next video. Now let's get into the wines that actually start showing some promise. Number 7 is Apothic Red. And this is where things get controversial because this wine has a cult following. People absolutely love it or completely hate it. There's no middle ground. We're landing firmly in the it's fine but overhyped camp. Apothic Red is a blend of Zinfandel, Merlot, Shiraz, and Cabernet Sauvignon from California. The first thing you notice is that it's sweet, like noticeably sweet. If you're used to dry reds, this will catch you off guard. They're going for this dark, mysterious, slightly gothic vibe with the branding, but the wine itself tastes more like someone's trying too hard to make wine appeal to people who usually drink cocktails. You get notes of dark fruit, caramel, and vanilla, which isn't bad at all. The problem is there's no balance. It's sweet without any acidity to cut through, smooth without any interesting texture, fruity without any complexity. It's one-dimensional, like a character in a bad movie who only has one personality trait. But here's where Apothic deserves some credit. They know their audience. This wine is specifically designed for people transitioning from sweet cocktails or beer into wine. It's a gateway wine, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone starts somewhere. The surprising truth? Apothic Red is one of the fastest growing wine brands in America, with sales increasing by double digits year after year. They've mastered social media marketing, targeting younger drinkers who are intimidated by traditional wine culture. Smart business, even if the wine itself isn't particularly sophisticated. Priced around $9 to $11, it's fair value if you genuinely enjoy sweeter wines. Just don't let anyone tell you it's some mysterious, complex blend. It's candy in a bottle, and that's okay if that's what you're after. Now we're getting into number 6, and this is where the quality genuinely starts to improve. La Crema Pinot Noir from Sonoma Coast is a wine that doesn't pretend to be something it's not, and we respect that. Pinot Noir is notoriously difficult to make well. It's thin-skinned, temperamental, and requires careful handling. La Crema does a decent job creating an approachable Pinot that doesn't completely sacrifice the grape's character. We get actual cherry and strawberry notes instead of generic red fruit. There's some earthiness, a bit of spice, and the oak aging is noticeable, but not overwhelming. The body is lighter than the previous wines we've discussed, which is appropriate for Pinot Noir. It's smooth without being boring, and the finish actually lingers a bit. This is wine we could pair with salmon or mushroom dishes, and it would enhance the meal instead of just being alcoholic background noise. Here's what most people don't realize. La Crema is owned by Jackson Family Wines, the same company behind Kendall Jackson. They've got serious winemaking resources, and it shows. This isn't some fly-by-night operation. They've been making California wine since the 1970s and actually know what they're doing. The catch? At $20 to $25 a bottle, we're starting to enter territory where we could find better Pinot Noirs if we're willing to explore. But for a reliable, easy-to-find option that won't embarrass us at a dinner party, La Crema delivers. At number 5, we've got J. Lohr Cabernet Sauvignon 7 Oaks, and this is where we hit solid, dependable wine territory. J. Lohr has been a staple in California winemaking since 1974, and this particular cab is their bread and butter. The 7 Oaks cab is full-bodied with flavors of dark cherry, blackberry, and hints of vanilla from oak aging. There's actual structure here. We can feel the tannins, but they're not overly aggressive. The wine has weight on our palate, and the finish goes on for a respectable amount of time. This is what Cabernet Sauvignon should taste like at this price point. What sets J. Lohr apart is consistency. Year after year, this wine tastes remarkably similar, which is harder to achieve than you might think. Weather changes, grape harvests vary, but somehow they maintain quality control that keeps customers coming back. This is the wine we bring when our boss invites us over for dinner. It's sophisticated enough to show we put thought into it, but not so obscure that we seem pretentious. It pairs beautifully with steak, lamb, or aged cheeses, all the classic Cabernet pairings. Here's the insider knowledge. J. Lohr owns over 4,000 acres of vineyards across California, which gives them incredible control over their fruit quality. They're not buying grapes from random vineyards and hoping for the best. They're managing every step of the process. That level of control translates directly into what's in our glass. At around $15 to $18, this represents genuine value. We're getting honest, well-made wine without any gimmicks or misleading marketing. It's not trying to be the most complex wine we've ever tasted. It's trying to be reliable, and it succeeds completely. Breaking into the top 4 is Columbia Crest H3 Cabernet Sauvignon from Washington State. And this is where we need to talk about why Washington wine deserves way more respect than it gets. California dominates American wine conversation, but Washington State has been quietly producing exceptional wines for decades. Columbia Crest is the largest winery in Washington, and their H3 line, H3 stands for Horse Heaven Hills, H3, the vineyard region, punches way above its price point. This cab has concentrated dark fruit flavors, blackberry, black cherry, cassis, with nice complexity from oak aging. We get notes of coffee, chocolate, and a touch of spice. The tannins are present, but refined, and there's enough acidity to keep everything balanced. This is structured wine that could honestly age for a few years if we had the patience. What makes Washington Cabernet special is the climate. The Columbia Valley has hot days and cool nights, which allows grapes to develop intense flavors while maintaining good acidity. It's basically perfect conditions for Cabernet Sauvignon without California's drought problems or astronomical land prices. Here's the shocking part. Columbia Crest H3 typically costs between $10 and $13, which is absurd for this quality level. We're getting wine that rivals $25 California cabs for half the price. The reason? Washington wine still hasn't achieved the same prestige as Napa or Sonoma, so prices remain relatively reasonable. Wine critics have noticed. H3 Cab regularly scores in the high 80s to low 90s from publications like Wine Spectator, which is remarkable for an under $15 bottle. This is proof that price doesn't always correlate with quality. Sometimes we just need to look beyond the obvious regions. If we're people who enjoy Cabernet but don't want to spend $30 plus per bottle, Columbia Crest H3 should be our go-to. It's serious wine at a non-serious price. We're getting into the top 3 now, and these are the bottles that legitimately impressed us. If we're finding this ranking helpful and want to make better wine choices without breaking the bank, we should make sure we're subscribed to the channel. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so we don't miss when we rank Chardonnays, explore natural wines, or expose which expensive bottles are total scams. Our wallets will thank us. Now, let's reveal the top 3. Coming in at number 3 is Meiomi Pinot Noir, and we'll admit, we had preconceived notions about this wine. It's everywhere. Every restaurant has it. Your mom probably drinks it. We assumed it was overhyped and overpriced. We were partially wrong. Meiomi, which means coast in the language of the Wapo Native American tribe, sources Pinot Noir from 3 California coastal regions: Sonoma, Monterey, and Santa Barbara. This multi-regional approach gives the wine complexity we don't find in single vineyard Pinots at this price. The flavor profile is lush and fruit-forward, strawberry, raspberry, dark cherry, but there's actual depth here. We get hints of mocha, vanilla, and a subtle earthiness that reminds us these grapes came from soil, not a laboratory. The texture is silky, The oak integration is seamless, and the finish is long and satisfying. What makes Meiomi special is its accessibility. This is wine that both beginners and enthusiasts can enjoy. It's not challenging, but it's not dumbed down either. It hits the sweet spot where it's interesting enough to analyze, but smooth enough to just enjoy without thinking too hard. The controversy? After Constellation Brands bought Meiomi in 2015 for $315 million, yes, $315 million, some wine snobs claim quality declined. We blind tasted older and newer vintages, and honestly, we couldn't tell a significant difference. The wine is still excellent. At $20 to $25, Meiomi is priced fairly for what we're getting. Is it the absolute best Pinot Noir in America? No, but it's consistently good, widely available, and versatile enough to pair with everything from grilled salmon to Thanksgiving turkey. That counts for something. At number 2, we have the Prisoner Red Blend, and this wine is basically a middle finger to traditional winemaking rules, in the best possible way. The Prisoner is primarily Zinfandel, blended with Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Syrah, Syrah, and Charbonneau. That last one, Charbonneau, is so rare that most of us have never even heard of it. The blend changes slightly each year based on what's performing best, which keeps things interesting. The flavor profile is intense. We get ripe dark fruit, plum, blackberry jam, with layers of cocoa, espresso, and exotic spice. There's a richness here that coats our entire mouth, and the wine has serious weight to it. The alcohol content is usually around 15%, which we can feel. This isn't a wine we casually drink with lunch unless we're planning to nap afterward. What makes the Prisoner special is its unapologetic boldness. This wine doesn't try to be elegant or refined. It's powerful, in your face, and makes zero apologies for being fruit-forward and high alcohol. It's wine for people who want to taste wine, not search for subtle notes of white pepper or limestone. The label itself is iconic, an etching based on a Francisco Goya painting, and has been ripped off by countless imitators. But there's only one original Prisoner, made by Orrin Swift Cellars in Napa Valley. Here's the surprising truth. The Prisoner helped pioneer the red blend category in American wine. Before the Prisoner, most American reds were labeled by their primary grape varietal. Orrin Swift proved that creative blending could create something greater than the sum of its parts, and now red blends are everywhere. At $45 to $55 per bottle, the Prisoner is expensive, but we're paying for winemaking creativity, exceptional fruit quality, and a wine that actually tastes premium. This is special occasion wine, anniversaries, celebrations, that dinner where we're trying to impress someone. It delivers. And here we are at number 1. The best red wine in our ranking is Duckhorn Merlot from Napa Valley, and picking a Merlot for the top spot will upset some people. Ever since Sideways came out in 2004, the grape has been treated like the embarrassing cousin of the wine world. That needs to end. Duckhorn proves why. Duckhorn has made Merlot since 1978, before it was cool, through its fall from grace, and now during its comeback. They stuck with Merlot because they believed in its potential, and that dedication shows in every bottle. This Merlot is everything it should be. Plush dark cherry and plum flavors, hints of cocoa and tobacco, perfectly integrated oak, smooth tannins, full body without heaviness, and a finish that lingers. Elegant, sophisticated, and Merlot through and through. Duckhorn Estate grows fruit across prime Napa vineyards, hand sorts every cluster, and ages the wine in French oak for 15 months. This attention to detail is usually reserved for Cabernet, but Duckhorn applies it to Merlot, and the results speak for themselves. Merlot's reputation suffered not because it's bad, but because cheap, mass-produced Merlots flooded the market in the 90s and early 2000s. Duckhorn never lowered its standards, keeping their Merlot exceptional. Wine critics agree. Duckhorn consistently scores in the low to mid-90s, putting it in elite territory. At $50 to $65 per bottle, we're paying for fruit from top vineyard land, decades of winemaking expertise, and a wine that proves Merlot deserves respect. This is wine we open for important moments, promotions, anniversaries, or evenings we want something genuinely special. Duckhorn Merlot delivers an experience that reminds us why wine became culturally important. If this opened your eyes, share it. Hit like to cut through the hype and comment, surprised by our rankings, disagree with the top pick? Let's debate. Subscribe for honest wine rankings and exposés on overpriced bottles. Watch next for Chardonnays that are worth your money. Good wine isn't about price, it's about bottles that actually make your meal or moment better. Cheers!